Guess what? Campos breaks. He takes off the track, has to go to the back of the pack, and didn't have exactly a super stellar night. That also put Weinbarger, I think, he's third, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Put him in the hunt, and he had something go wrong. It was just a crazy night for –
Yeah, a lot
No,
of people
Weinbarger finished second that night.
Okay, so who was the other guy that was right there in the points that
Dustin, I believe. Yeah, Dustin.
Yeah,
Katie.
he was leading. He was leading.
He was leading.
Yes.
He had that lead. He and Ferrando got together, and Ferrando got by him. Colin got by him. They finished 1, 2, 3. Ferrando, Superman, Dustin, Katie.
You know, and with Gray, it was kind of he's been one of those drivers you watch that's been a progression, a work in progress. You know, it's not. It wasn't a matter of if Gray won. It was simply when. We knew it was going to happen at Willamette. I mean, that car is so fast. And here's the biggest thing I've noticed. Watching Gray in that car on the track, settling down, better throttle control. When he won that race a couple of weeks ago, he was fast. I mean, that car was dialed. It looked better than I've ever seen him at Willamette. And I think, will you guys agree to that? I mean,
absolutely.
Was that not the best you've ever seen him drive? I mean, he was really the car was smooth. It was working. He went through traffic. I mean, it was a great job at driving. It truly was. And I told him in Victory Lane, I said, you keep doing that, these guys are the rest of these guys have their hands full. This 13 car.
I don't know who he's been taking lessons from, but the vast improvement you've seen, progression you've seen between this time last season and where he is now in his driving ability, world of difference. He's settled the car down. His driving settled down, significantly from where it was. I mean, he was literally a wreckers car last year. Now he's completing races, and he got himself a W at Willamette Speedway, which is not an easy task.
It's not. Well, here's the thing, too. When he got that win, who finished second to him?
Weinbarger.
It's Colin Weinbarger. And Colin did everything he possibly could. Yeah. Colin did everything he possibly could to get by Gray, and it wasn't going to happen.
Well, another thing about Gray is he comes from a long line. Their family
the Ferrandos. There's 143 people in that family that race.
Or Derby.
Right.
I've been to derbies all over the state and run into them, the 4-cylinders, the mods to racing. So he has a lot of knowledge. If I understand it right, it's either his grandfather or his great uncle was racing sprint cars back in the 50s. So
yeah, they go back like 14 generations.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, his great grandfather's cousin's uncle actually raced stagecoaches.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's true too. But
yeah, on his mom's side, yeah.
But the whole family as a whole, they're all really, just awesome people, and having that much to pull from, having that much help and that much background, that'll take a guy who's getting kind of wild. Where somebody, when you're his buddy, it's really hard to say, dude, you got to settle down. When you're his uncle, you can say, dude, what are you doing?
Well, and I know again. Talking real, I tend to do that here on the show. People say, "Oh, he said that he was talking track." No, I'm not. Here's what Gray reminds me of. Watching Gray, and you guys have been around long enough to see the progression I'm talking about. Think about to the mid '90s when you first started seeing Rob May in a late model. What Gray is doing in a modified and the learning process and the things he's gone through is so similar to what we saw with Rob Maya. Rob is an elite driver now. I mean, he's a 5-time late model champion. 3 times he's won modifieds at Willamette Speedway. There's no doubt. Nobody will say Rob is not a good race car driver. In the early days, he was cold trickle. He hit the pace car. He hit the wall. He hit everything there was to hit.
Oh, he was Austin Dillon at Daytona.
But it was. I mean, he really did. He was always super fast. But it was a matter of getting that finesse and putting it all together. When it clicked, Rob Maya became Rob Maya. Now he was racing and running against Bob Jeffrey and Russ Sell and Darren Koffel and, the best we've seen in the last 20, 25 years. But it took a lot to get there. Gray reminds me so much of Rob Maya in the process we've seen him learning and what he's starting to do now. And I don't think this is, it's right here it says Gray's got 4 wins this year. Wairika, 2 at Grove, and 1 at Willamette. Okay, when I said first win, I meant at Willamette. I mean, that's kind of where he really, really, really wanted to win a race. It's funny to me to watch because I've always said just in the last, the last year and a half, 2 years, watching Gray is it's just like watching Rob May all over again. These guys in the or the modifieds, I think, are going to have. I think they're going to have their hands full with Gray Ferrando from here on out. I do.
You know, the similarities between the level of competition in the modifieds and the street stocks. You know, the late models are a little more strung out. Same with the sportsman cars in our state, but the modifieds, it's amazing to me how many just awesome drivers. It's when I watch as a racer, I have a hard time rooting for anybody because you know there's at least 10 guys that I want to see.
Well, and you want to see a good race.
Exactly. You know? That's really
the last
what I
thing you want to see is somebody just take off and check out, and yeah, you want to see that side by side 3-4 cars duking it out. I mean, that's what we're all there for, and it's no fun to watch one guy dominate. I mean, unless he's your favorite driver. Yeah.
Real quick, let's run through late models, and we got to go back to the street stocks here. 10th position, the 61 of Jerry Casey with 276. 9th position, the 74 Dan Dybel machine, 294. I need to have this scoring system checked. 8th position, Todd Sieg, 289. We're going to get confirmation on these points here shortly, race fans. 7th position, the 4E of Trent Elliott, 308. Actually, he's tied for 6th with Randy Boyd, who is also at 308. 5th place, the 38 machine of Tomas Hunziker, 324. 4th, Steve Moore with 333.
Steve's having a great year in the modified and the late model.
He really is. 3rd position, the 111 machine of Joey Tanner, 374. And the tight battle up front between Weinbarger and James. 385 to James's credit, 387 to Weinbarger's credit.
Wow.
2 points.
But here's the other thing, too. James has 2 feature wins to his credit. Weinbarger has 4.
Right.
Which one's in the lead?
Weinbarger.
By 2 points.
That's going to be...
Well, and then you look at where they're at in late models. I think they're 1st and 3rd in late models, too, right?
That is late models.
I mean, in the modifieds, they're 1st and 3rd in
1st and 3rd in mods,
and 1st and 2nd in late models.
Talented drivers.
It's unbelievable.
What else can you say?
It's unbelievable.
I saw Joey posting that he was going to be at the Iron Giant.
He's going to run in the
Yep.
We saw that. I'm sure he will.
That's going to be fun to watch. But
I also heard that Superman's going to be driving his brother's car.
The 19. Well, I think he tried that last year and didn't something.
No, he ran Gaylord's.
Yeah, he ran Gaylord's car.
That's right.
He ran Gaylord's machine last
They
year.
have to change the seat, though.
Yeah.
Have you seen this
seat? A little
narrow.
A little.
Skyler's little guy.
Yep.
I don't think my leg would fit in there.
Street stocks. Run through this real quick.
Let's do it.
10th position, the 95 of Shannon Horn. With only 6 races at Willamette Speedway, has accumulated 228 points.
That 95 car is fast.
Well, anytime it unloads, you know it's going to contend for the top spot. 9th position, the 22 of Mackenzie Lockhart, 241. Very good developmental driver right there. She's really, this season, it's coming all together.
Now she's got some power underneath her. She might be a threat at that 50 lapper.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that start, Mackenzie, if you're listening. I saw that start, and you stepped on the gas, and the car went sideways right in front of the whole crowd.
It did.
And, man, she held on to it.
She saved
it.
It
was phenomenal. I was jumping up and down rooting for her.
That could have been catastrophic for the field, but that girl saved that car, and kudos to her. Great job of driving.
The 8th position, the 29 of David Kronk, 276. Then we take a big jump up to 7th place, the 14J of Steve Jorgensen, 378.
Now, in that class, this is the guy that has surprised me the most this year, Steve Jorgensen. No wins yet, but from where he was at last year, and Steve has gone through so much with losing his wife and then losing his mother-in-law shortly after that, and just had all this put on him and the cost of racing, and then he decides to come out, and I don't know what changed with Steve, but something's changed because Steve has been pretty badass fast lately, and he's been fun to watch.
Yes, he has.
He has.
6th place, the 99 machine of Justin Evans, 392. Tight battle for 5th place.
With?
This one's going to surprise you.
Okay, go ahead.
397 points to the credit of Kendall Irvine.
Okay, yeah, rookie driver. JJ's daughter.
The 4th place, Guess what team?
Amco.
Yeah, you're right. The 98 of Sean French, 462.
Now, Sean, another guy who has made huge strides just this year. Made some changes on the Camaro. They really have. And Warren and I have been talking about him up there, watching him, and he's starting another one of those guys starting to put it all together. And he's not far away from a win, I don't think.
No, not at all. And neither is his teammate, Dakota Goddard, sitting in third. Another Team Amco car.
Second-year driver, young guy that has got it making a motor swap
Big
as we speak.
Yeah.
He did really well at the Wallbanger Cup. He did
Yeah.
really good. He was right there with the top. I think he finished top 10. I think he got 8.
He's been moving forward.
So
That's what counts.
Yeah, that's a fast car.
515 points. There's a big jump there from fourth to third.
Right.
And then we take another large jump to the battle for first and second.
And the battle for first and second street stocks.
Separated by 8 points are Jody Tanner and Kevin Roberts.
Ooh.
Roberts with 589, 2 feature wins and 1 missed race.
Okay.
Jody Tanner sits in the first position in championship points with 597, making all the races at Willamette Speedway.
See, no feature wins, but he's made all the races. That one race you miss can make a difference in the title.
But it's 8 points.
8 points.
Yeah.
That's anything can happen, man.
This is
That's the street stocks. That's
Yeah.
anything can happen.
You
with
look at the
that.
points now from where they were last year at this time. We can't sit there and call winners now.
No.
Kevin won last week, and you can't call winners.
No.
Well, last year at this time, we were already calling the Hornets. We were calling the Sportsmen.
Not now.
We were calling the Mods. This year,
No.
can't do it.
No.
Next year we'll be saying the same thing.
No, we won't be saying
I
that next
think
year.
we're going to
Warren.
see some big change in the offseason. If everything happens the way I'm hearing, I think there's going to be some big change here in the Pacific Northwest. Last week, Sunset Speedway held the Doug Walters Classic. 2 years in a row now. 3 years?
Yep.
Joey Tanner.
Third year in a row.
He's won it 3 years in a row.
He already had back-to-back, and this was the triple.
Joey Tanner is he's excitement in a race car.
Always.
He is so. Seriously, there's 5 or 6 guys that are when you watch them drive, you get excited because you don't know how they do what they do. And Joey, to me, is kind of one of those guys. He doesn't have the best of the best equipment. It's great equipment. Don't get me wrong. It's not the best of the best, but that kid gets every ounce of performance out of his cars, and he's won how many different racetracks this year? Won at Cottage Grove, didn't he?
2 nights in a row.
Won at Cottage Grove 2 nights
Two nights in a row.
He's won at Willamette. He's won at he's won up and down the I-5 corridor, and he says he's already told me he's committed. He's going to the Bud Nationals again. We're going to see him down in Bakersfield. We're going to talk more about that here shortly. I got some news for you guys. That kid he is fun to watch.
He's really good at setting them up, too. He's gotten really good at setting those late models up.
And that's when Joey became a good race car driver. Before he had, there was no doubt he had great equipment. But you can put any driver in great equipment, and it's not going to do anything. Joey went to work, did his homework like you guys, and reads and understands shocks. Shocks are the most important element of a race car, I think, at any level we're racing at now. Truly.
Yeah, definitely.
And he is one of those guys that's got it figured out. He knows how to set that car up. And when you get a good driver, Dom, when you get a good driver that can set up a race car, that's a dangerous combination.
Well, I remember last year, Yak, he had that Camaro with the good set of shocks and an excellent driver. What did he get?
Yeah.
The rat rod. That thing, a big chunk of rust fell off that thing as he passed me.
Yeah.
Flew over the top of my car, and I could not
But
believe
that's impressive.
it was impressive. It was cool.
The rat rod. Man, I don't think that was as ratty as they'll lead you to believe. That was a good race car, but
That was a sleeper.
it was. Yeah, no doubt about that. But man, so a great job for Joey. I know that race to him is personal. Much like it was for Greg Walters, who won it the first 7 years in a row, and I don't think he's finished anything worse than second or third in that the 10 years they've had that deal. I've called that race down there at Sunset, and that is one where, to them, it's kind of like our Clare Cup at Willamette. It's sentimental for everybody there because of what Doug meant to the the crew and the drivers and the fans at Sunset. You know, he was a big figure down there.